G'day, Ben Futrell here, co-founder of MaxMyProfit and presenter of the Business Fast Track Workshop series, out and about at the moment in a hotel room, as you can see on my Business Fast Track Workshop series. But I thought what I'd do is I'd bring you a live video anyway to keep that weekly theme going. And I thought what I'd do is share with you a little bit about how to run a successful webinar, because I know that a lot of you are looking at how to promote your business, different ways to promote your business, and getting out in front of many people and educating people as to what it is you offer, why they should buy from you, how they can get from you. Maybe your audience doesn't know 100% of everything that's available. A webinar is a great way to start communicating with your audience, whether it's a database that you've already got, or you market it publicly through things like Facebook or through other people's email databases. A webinar is a great way for you to build trust, credibility, and authority in your industry and get new business. Now, if you haven't tried doing a webinar, I suggest you give it a go. It doesn't matter what type of business you're in. I really think webinars are a good way for you to get started with some what I call crowd-based marketing, so you can really get out to a lot of people at once and leverage your time. And I love the fact that with a webinar, you can be anywhere in the world. I could be running a webinar right here from my hotel room and no one would know where I was. So webinars are very leveraged. They're very low cost as well. So unlike a traditional seminar, like where I am right now, I'm in the Mercure Hotel in Brisbane, and I've got to pay for a hotel room. I've got to pay for flights to get here, all the time it takes. I've got to pay for the conference room itself, any of the catering. So it can be quite expensive. AV gear is where when you run a webinar, all you need is a microphone, a PowerPoint or Keynote presentation, or it could be some software that you're demonstrating, and your computer and an internet connection and a little bit of software, and that makes it really, really simple to do. So I'm just going to give you a few tips of what I think makes a successful webinar and how you can really leverage off of doing your own webinars in your business. First of all, I think it's important that you put a fair bit of preparation in. I've seen some webinars where people haven't thought through their content and they end up sort of stumbling over their words when they start running their webinar. Now, in a webinar, it's really important that you have a minimum of 2 slides per minute. So if you're going to run a 60-minute webinar, you need 120 slides. Now, the reason I say that is because if you don't have enough slides, you're going to end up having one slide sitting stagnant on the screen for too long, and people will tune out. And that's a big challenge in webinars. It happens a lot. So I always say to you, just grab the presentation that you're currently using, and take all the bullet points off of your slides and split them up into more slides. The more the merrier. The more the screen moves, we like moving pictures, that's what we like. The more the screen moves, the more people are going to jump on and watch your webinar. So make sure you've got plenty of slides in your slide deck for your webinar. Use lots of pictures as well. I always say no more than about 5 words on a slide, because that's all you need on a slide. The rest should be made with pictures. So there's my tip for sort of preparing your presentation. On that note, don't get too hung up on the presentation. You've just got to deliver quality content. Make sure it's something that's useful to your target market, and don't get too worried about what it is. Just get started, run a webinar. My second tip then is make sure that you put some thought into your strategy for promoting your webinar, because it's no good running a webinar and then have no one turn up. On the same token, though, one of the beautiful things about webinars, if only 3 people turn up, that's okay. It doesn't matter whether 3 people or 300 people turn up. Your webinar is, once again, a very low-cost strategy, and you're going to be able to leverage off of this great content anyway, and I'll tell you why in a second with one of my other tips. But it doesn't matter how many turn up, just do the webinar, give it your all, give the best value you possibly can. I've actually done a webinar to nobody before on purpose, because the recording didn't work and I wanted to record it. So, the reality is that when you're doing a webinar, the interaction is great if you have people there, but it's not necessary. You don't need to have people on your webinar to make it a success. And the reason for that is because my next tip is make sure you record your webinar, because by recording your webinar, you can then send out a replay. Because what typically happens is you'll get let's say you get 100 webinar registrations, you might get 25 people turn up, or you get 1,000, you get 250 turn up. Typically you get about a 20 to 25% turn up rate to a webinar. The rest of those people were originally interested in your content, so that means now what you can do is send them out a link to the replay. So get the recording, upload it onto YouTube, or depending on your webinar software, it may allow you to host your replays there. Upload it to a replay, put it on your website, put it wherever you can, and that allows people then to watch that webinar whenever they like, at a time that's convenient to them. And in fact, a lot of people register for webinars thinking that there is going to be a recording. My next tip would be, tell people that you're going to have a recording. I see a lot of people say there won't be a recording, so make sure you get on live. I actually like to say there will be a recording, so register even if you can't make it. And the reason I do that is because if I'm spending the money on the marketing, I'd rather get you to register, so I've got your details and I've got you as a lead, than just let you go because you can't make the time. And I find it actually reduces my acquisition cost per registration, and then I know we can follow those people up later, which is my next tip. If you're going to run a webinar, you need to make sure you have a follow-up strategy as well. So not only do we want a strategy for filling the webinar up, so think about what marketing we're going to do, whether we're going to do pay-per-click marketing, or we're going to do email broadcast marketing, or we're going to do JV marketing. Are we going to tell our clients about it? We might have something in store that tells people about it. That you need that strategy. You also then need a follow-up strategy. So after the webinar, you need to think about, okay, well, what am I going to use for a follow-up strategy? So when people come on the webinar, how can I then make sure that I follow those people up? When we take webinar registrations, I always ask for a phone number. And what that means is that if you didn't take up my offer at the end of the webinar, whatever it might be, then we can then follow you up and have a conversation with you after the webinar, find out what are the key things that you got out of it, and did you find it helpful, and can we help you do other things? And so it's really important that you have a follow-up process as well. My next tip is to make sure that you use a reputable webinar software company. I've tried a few different platforms. We use GoToMeeting. They've got a platform called GoToWebinar. It's a little bit more pricey than some of the others, but it's a really reliable platform. If you think about it, if you're going to put all the effort, especially if you're spending money on marketing, if you're going to spend money driving people into your webinar and then you use a free platform that crashes on you or doesn't work or is unreliable, it's hard for people to log in, then it's going to be a challenge. Now, GoToMeeting is not the only reputable company out there. There's quite a few. GoToMeeting, in fact, is quite an older platform, so they don't have some of the bells and whistles of the newer ones, but I find it works really well for me. I know the platform, I know it's reliable, and it works really well. And good thing with a platform like that is it's easy to record your webinar. They also give you hosting to upload a recording, and then you can then advertise the recording for people to come back and rewatch, and people have to opt in to do that as well. So it's a really good platform for that. A lot of metrics, a lot of analytics, a lot of tells you a lot of things about it. Anyway, that's probably my top tips on making sure you run a successful webinar. What I've done is I've got a cheat sheet put together for you that you can grab that takes you through a step-by-step process of setting up a successful webinar, right from setting up your landing page all the way through to how to set up your campaigns or your follow-up sequences, etc., in your CRMs, and making sure that you get the absolute most out of your webinar and it works for your business. So head to maxmyprofit.com.au/setupwebinar. All one word, setupwebinar. The link for that will be in the description somewhere, depending where you're watching this video. Each platform puts the description in a different spot. But if you can find the description to this video, you'll find a link to maxmyprofit.com.au/setupwebinar, and it'll take you through a step-by-step process for setting up your webinar. Good luck with that, and hopefully you found this helpful. Make sure you tune in for the next live video that we do, and until next time, have a very profitable day. Cheerio.